900 if you're on the cell phone. It's always toll-free. And the email, jwest@900chml.com. Getting a lot of email coming in. You've heard about the glass ceiling, and there's been a lot of talk in the last few years, that women are really breaking through that glass ceiling and occupying some of the top executive positions in Canada. But the reality is, or a new study seems to indicate, that it's lonely for women who have managed to slip through a crack in the almost impervious glass ceiling. Of the 500 highest paid executives in Canada, in Canada's 100 largest public companies, only 23 are female. Joining me on the line to talk about it is Jay Rosenzweig. He's I guess, would we call you a headhunter, Jay, or do you not like that term?
Oh, headhunter is perfectly fine.
Is that okay?
That's who we are.
And you did this research, and also joining us on the program is Paula Holmes-Rodman. She's the chair of the Hamilton Status of Women Committee. Thanks to both of you for being with us this morning.
Good to be here.
Jay, let me start with you.
Yes.
You did a study of the 2005 executive compensation filings of those companies, Canada's 100 largest public companies. What did your findings indicate?
Well, it was actually quite astonishing to us that of the 5 highest paid corporate officers or executive officers of the 100 largest corporations in Canada, only 4.6%, fewer than 5% of the top paid executive officers in Canada's largest publicly traded companies are women. We expected the numbers to be low, but we didn't expect it to be this low.
Why do you think that's the case, Jay? Any indication as to why that's happening? I mean, that number's pretty astronomically low, 4.6%.
Yeah. Well, the reasons are complex, but not being part of the long-term networks is an important factor for women not getting right to the top, in our view. The old boys Rolodex certainly doesn't rule anymore, but it still is in use, and there remains this lingering preference for males to hire other men. So it's a reality for us in 2006 that one would have otherwise thought it really doesn't exist in this day and age.
I'll throw this open to both you, Jay, and Paula. It's just a notion that I have. I'm guessing here that perhaps part of the problem is that women are viewed as being tied down by corporate Canada and corporate America, and men are probably viewed as much freer. And what I mean is, women are the ones that are the great nurturers of our society. They're the ones that really raise society. And I think corporate America and corporate Canada sometimes looks at women as a little more risky when we start getting up to the very top, because women tend to have babies and put family issues ahead of everything else. Well, how would you respond to that, Paula, first of all?
Well, I think that this is the issue of the long-term networks that was just referred to. And women, it's true, are still the primary caregivers at home. That is in terms of both children and also elderly parents. They also tend to take on more unpaid work in the community as volunteers. And this tends to be, my understanding, is less valued in the workplace situation. And so we have a problem of what is actually considered to be a good and worthy and promotable employee. How do you value X number of hours at work, say 70, 80 hours at work, to 40 hours at work plus, say, 20 hours of community volunteering, and how many hundreds of hours of raising the next generation and caring for the elderly. And so there's really a matter of how you come to evaluate men and women who perhaps sometimes have different priorities. And so the structures of promotion and the communal values of what constitutes a good employee needs to be changed before we can have anything close to men and women equally in the upper echelons of companies.
Jay, does it boil down to that risk that I alluded to at the beginning of the conversation, that corporations just don't want to take the risk of somebody being that high up on the food chain suddenly deciding that they're going to pack it in because they want to go off and have a baby or adopt a child or look after their mother or father or whatever?
Well, I think it's a combination of things, and Paula brought up a number of interesting points and quite valid points. For one thing, community work and other vocations of the like are not valued enough in our society. So let's clearly emphasize that point. But in terms of macroeconomic statistics and macro-social statistics, women represent 46.6% of the workforce, and I don't mean not for profit or volunteerism when I talk about that. So when you mention that, or when you see the statistic of 4.6% of women rising to the very top, when virtually half of the workforce is female, the numbers are still quite alarming. I would discount to a degree the percentage of women at the highest levels because of some of these issues that you mentioned. In a practical sense, you're right. Women might choose the most important vocation of all, and that is to raise families, but certainly not at the staggering rate that we see in terms of the disproportion of women at the very top who aspire and who are every bit as ambitious and as hardworking and talented as their male counterparts.
Well, and I suppose it depends on who's making the decision to promote. If it's a woman promoting a woman, then the criteria is totally different. But
right.
As these statistics are bearing out, it's usually men that are making that decision about promoting a woman. Paula, your thoughts?
Well, even we have a problem with the language here. The fact that even it would be a risk that you might lose someone at the top. Well, you might even consider to have a job share of a top executive.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that a woman has to choose between a job and a child. In the academic world, does a book, does a publication of one book equal one baby? There's lots of women who really feel they have to make those choices.
Yeah, that's unfortunate in our society.
That's quite right. So, in our view, this equality issue is not only a women's issue, or one might say it's not a women's issue. It's a challenge spanning all aspects of society, including business. And every time we make strides to meet that challenge, every man and woman, be it in business or otherwise, will benefit, because what we've seen in terms of studies coming out across North America is diversity of viewpoint makes business more creative and more competitive. So what we need to do, to Paula's point, is to formally support women and men, in fact, because more and more men are now deciding to take a huge load in terms of balance at home. So support women and men in balancing their multiple commitments to work, to family, to education, and to community, to Paula's point, because when you support all of these various, I think, complementary aspirations, all of society benefits.
Absolutely. Paula Holmes-Rodman, Chair of the Hamilton Status of Women Committee, thank you very much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jay Rosenzweig, Toronto-based headhunter with Rosenzweig and Company. Did I get your name correct?
Yes, you absolutely did.
I tried. I tried real hard, Jay. Thank you so much for your input today. Really appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking to you again down the road.
It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye. There you go. 905-645-3221. Star 9900. It's toll free on the cell phone. The email jwest@900chml.com. I was taken aback by these numbers that Mr. Rosenzweig's company presented here. Of the 500 highest paid executives in Canada, one of Canada's 100 largest public companies, only 23 are females. Women are the ones that raise this society, and they keep doing it. Some of those children never grow up. Ask Rebecca. She'll tell you. Jamie West for Roy Green on 900 CHML. You